Hey guys, it's Andrea from AndreaVagey.com, and today I want to make a video all about diving into how to price your Etsy items. Okay, so when it comes to pricing your items on Etsy, there are two things that kind of need to be considered. I feel like I sort of have a hot take on pricing Etsy items, which we'll kind of get into later. But like I said, I think that there are two things you need to consider when it comes to pricing your items on Etsy. And I think the first thing that needs to be considered is your goals. So the overall goal of your shop is a big deal when it comes to pricing your items, because that kind of dictates how much you should be wanting / willing to charge for it. So for example, this is best explained in examples. If I was a seller that was only trying to sell 5 items a month, so like in this scenario, I would probably be like a side hustle seller. I'm making all the items by myself. I have no help, and this is not my full-time income. But say I only have 5 items available to sell every month. That would likely mean that I'm going to have to charge more per item because I only have 5 available. This is literally just like basic pricing, supply and demand that you learned in grade school. So if your supply is really low, 5 items a month is really low, your demand is probably, hopefully high, and you're gonna have to charge more. So if that's you, you're gonna take on a whole different formula for pricing your products, because at that point, you're pricing your time. If that's not you, and that's not me, I do not have a cap. This is my full-time income. I am trying to sell as much as I possibly can. The market is what's going to dictate your price. I think that this is where my kind of hot take comes in, because I think that a lot of people think that their expenses dictate their price. And so a really popular pricing formula is my cost plus my labor equals my price, and my labor is where you're making your profit. I think that that pricing formula is broken and backwards, and the reason why is that the market does not care about your expenses. So what I mean by that is that your customers who are going to search for your items on Etsy are not concerned with how much money you're making or how much it's going to cost you. They are strictly concerned with how much it's going to cost them, which means that the market dictates what you're able to charge. There's this phrase, and everybody knows it, everybody hears it, it's what can the market bear? And that's basically saying that the market is only able to bear so much per item, like so much money cost per item. So as someone who is not trying to cap my sales, I'm doing this full time. You might be wanting to do this full time. You're not trying to cap your sales. The market has to dictate your price. So if your goal is not to sell 5 items a month, this is where all the market research and where this video becomes helpful. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is establish what the market will bear. And that's where you have to do research. We start with our research by literally just searching what we sell on Etsy. The next thing might sound a bit contradictory to what I literally just said, but it's not, I promise. I mean both of these things. While the market does not care about your expenses, it is very important that you know and track your expenses. Obviously, the goal of a business is to make money. If you're not making money, something has to change. So what we do for our Etsy shop is I have just a Google Sheets with the name of the listing, the cost for shipping, because we offer free shipping, and then our profit per item. So that's kind of how we track our expenses and our profits. This is really, really important for you to know how much money you're making and how you can be making more money in other ways. So my dad was an entrepreneur for 40 years. They just sold their business. He is the king of one-liners, and especially so with business advice. I feel very lucky because he's able to give very good advice on like our entrepreneurial journeys, because that's what he did. So his advice always to me was, you don't make money when you sell, you make it when you buy. So what he means by that is that you don't get to control how much you charge. You do, kind of, but you don't really get to control how much you charge, because like we said, the market sets that price for you. What you do get to control, what you do have, well, not totally, but what you do get some say in is how much you buy for. And so that means that a lot of your time as an Etsy seller, as a business owner, is gonna go towards sourcing stuff and towards hiring, managing, all that kind of stuff to get your products to where you don't have to raise your price, but you're still making a high margin. So this comes into play, let's say, for an example, if you were a knitter. Finding ways to source high quality yarn would be a very big way to increase your profit margins for you. Another way is if you are further along in your shop and you are finding that your time is more valuable than it would be to like crochet or knit, you can hire someone to crochet or knit. Obviously, this advice still applies as far as like you want people to be fairly paid for what you're doing. You want to fairly pay the people who are working for you, but you can definitely still do that and be very, very conscious of how much you are paying for the items that you're sourcing. So just to kind of recap, the first thing you guys need to do whenever you're pricing your items is to establish what the overall goal of your shop would be. The second thing you need to do based on those goals is decide what the market will bear for an item like yours. The third thing you need to focus on is profit margins and making sure that you're making the best business decisions possible with your sourcing and your hiring. The last thing I want to say in this video, and I say this at the end of a lot of my videos because it's just a piece of advice that I think applies to a lot of business principles, is that this will be a trial and error. Pricing is trial and error. You will make mistakes. Do not let not knowing the exact price of the item stop you from starting to sell on Etsy. That would be insane, and you'll never start because you'll never have it perfect right. I still don't have it perfect. Nobody has it perfect. This is something that we're constantly tinkering with and trying to explore and make the best decisions with. So do not let this stop you from starting on Etsy. If you are a seasoned seller on Etsy or you are a new seller on Etsy, I just created a resource for y'all that I know will be super helpful. It is my Etsy shop scorecard. It's just basically a checklist to make sure that your Etsy shop, all of the setup is, your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. You can grab that down in the description below. There'll be a link. I'm really excited to offer that to you guys because I think that having a filled out Etsy shop is really impactful for your success on Etsy, and so that's something that I'm super excited to offer. If you're new around here, I make new videos every week about just being successful on Etsy and turning your hobby into a profitable business online. So if that's something you're interested in, please subscribe below, and I am so stoked that you're able to join us today, and thanks for watching.